Shalom. We thank God Almighty for a wonderful opportunity that has given us to be able to share the word of life, the word of and the message of God. I mean, the message of life on a wonderful day like this, marking the day of the that is set aside for fathers, where fathers are celebrated. We have chanted Hallelujah, Hosanna, Ebenezer to God, who is the one that is the original Father that is worthy of our celebration. And my prayer is that this Father that has given us the opportunity to celebrate Him will keep us alive so that we have more of such celebrations in Jesus' mighty name. I would like to thank all that have made it possible for us to be here and to be able to share this word of life. I mean, to be able to reach you on diverse platforms. Right now, if you're watching us, we are watching us from Christ Arrival International Church, Holy Others Parish, which is located in Durham, in the state of North Carolina, in the United States of America. We're using the platform of our parish in Nigeria, Christ Arrival International Church, Gethsemane Parish, to the Facebook platform and also the Instagram platform to reach you. We're also going to reach you through our YouTube channel, Pulpit TV, Pulpit Global TV, which is also where we're also doing a live stream to you right now. It's a wonderful day. It's a sunny day where I am in United States of America. I hope it's sunny in your place, but if it's not, I just take it that make it a wonderful day, a beautiful day yourself. My name is Peter Olaniyan, and I'm the parish pastor. We're the pastor the parish pastor for this parish, oversee it, and also oversee the parish of the Gethsemane Parish in Ibadan, Nigeria. If you are reaching us through the podcast that we soon, I hope this will go there. You're also reaching us live, if not live, might be recorded from Christ Arrival International Church, Holy Others Parish in United States of America. It's a wonderful day again, and it's a day that we celebrate fathers. And if the fathers in the house might be listening to it, I say Happy Father's Day to all of you. And I know and I believe your children will make you happy and they remain source of joy for you. Amen. You also remain source of joy for your children. You continue to be a good father to them, just as our Father in heaven has been good to us. He wants us to be like Him, so He wants us to be a perfect person like Him, and so He recommended what we need to do to be like that person in Matthew chapter 5 from verse 43 to 48. We'll take that because at a different time, but basically the recommendation of God to be that nice person is to be like your Father, who is always loving, a loving Father that allows His rain to fall on the good and the bad, and the sun to shine on the good and the bad, and He provides for all of us. I know that you might have children that you may looking upon, maybe they're not doing what as much as you think. Remember your Father in heaven that does good to all of them, so that He will give us every opportunity to be better. As your children celebrate you today, even there are those who do not learn or have not been able to celebrate you, be like that Father that God is to us and accommodate them, put them on the right path. Do not, because of that, give up on them. For in John 3:17, Christ said He would never came to condemn, but He has come to save us. I believe that in His infinite mercies, He will look upon the world and save us. I also thank God for your life that you're able to listen, because this period is a very horrendous time. The time that the pandemic of coronavirus is taking over the world. The world is in denial here and there. You can go with this. We don't know why it's happening. The truth of this is that it's an expression of God's anger. But we believe God, in His infinite mercy, will look down upon the world, cleanse the world, and put us back into our real self. Yeah. We have lost so much in terms of what we used to be able to do, but we believe so soon we'll be able to hug ourselves, hold our hands, and show love to each one another. Shalom.
Shalom.
Being that as it may, I would like to go to the message of the day. Lomi o, lomi fogore, tire mo jẹ́ o, Olúwa lomi fogore o, lomi o, lomi fogore o, tire mo jẹ́ o, Olúwa lomi fogore o. Shalom. 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 Once again, I welcome all to this broadcast. And like I said, we reach you from Christ Arrival International Church. Which is located in Durham, in the city, the city of Durham, in the state of North Carolina, United States. We have, in the last few minutes, celebrated fathers by talking about their role, by telling you briefly to be good fathers, but also to let the children know that they must be celebrated. But the biggest and the Almighty Father that is in heaven is the one that we should celebrate all the time. We don't have to set a day apart for God to celebrate God. We just have to celebrate Him because He is our God and our Savior. I find it exceedingly joyful that I have an opportunity to be here and to celebrate a day like this with you. And I want you to share this special moment with me when we will be talking about it's your battle, it's not your power. Life is essentially made up of a chain of events, starting from birth. Sometimes, maybe you could say starting from conception. And through infancy into adulthood, a series of events will have happened, and such events will ultimately define who we are. It also determine the story of our life. And when we are opportune to do a memo of our life, or do an autobiography, or present a record of our life, the content of our life will be made up of such events. And that's life. Events. One event over the other. In usual times, it starts destructive. In usual times, it starts with the birth that we're talking about. But there's some people that their event of their life actually start from conception. Threatened abortion, painful pregnancy. The parent, even if the child may not know, when they tell the story of that child, the parent would know that when I had you, this is what I went through. That's why I said life is all about a series of events. Successful and even unsuccessful people have stories of struggles, battles they have to go through, battles they have to fight to reach certain level in life. There is virtually no one that does not have one struggle or the other. As I'm talking to you, I want you to think about it. What has been your life struggle? Some have struggles that they carry all through their life until the point they depart. But there are struggles that people overcome, or the battles they fight, and when they fight it, they move on to another level. The struggle and the battle are never the same, even if they look similar. The battle that you fight, even if you're identical twins, your battle cannot be that of your twin brother or your twin sister. It's always your own battle, Pastor. But your own battle is not my battle. It's mine. Whatever you struggle with, it's your struggle, it's not my struggle. That's the truth of life. I've read about and heard about so many instances of people who fight rough and take ownership of other people's battle, even when they are not well equipped to fight even their own battle, to talk of not to talk of fighting such battles. They just make it their duty to fight other people's battles. Have you ever imagined yourself fighting another person's battle? Have you asked yourself if the battle you are now fighting is yours? This is common amongst our youth. Several times. Please share this on Instagram. Just go to Pulpit and share it on my Instagram. Excuse me. Fighting other people's battle is common amongst our youth. I have a very interesting story of a riot or protest that I want to talk to you about. When I was an undergraduate at the famed University of Ibadan, in my undergraduate years, the student union, one particular year, the student union had called us out to protest. Probably in the early 80s, I can remember. And I joined the protest, a young, benevolent guy. Such protests will be better described as looting, because when they go out, they just loot and do all that stuff. At a particular moment, that protest actually became looting. When we got to this, as we got very close to this senior staff club, where the senior staff, senior lecturers go to drink and enjoy themselves in the evening. It was in the night. This was around 8 or 9 p.m. in the night. I can't remember what time, but it was dark. And looting started. So I asked another student standing next to me as we were going to join them in the looting. I said, "Excuse me, why are we rioting?" He took a long look at me. He smiled. And I said, "I don't know." I said, "You don't know? You really don't know why we're here?" He said, "He doesn't know, but we're rioting anyway." From that moment, I turned. I went back to my hostel. I think it was around 1981. And I said to myself, that's not my battle. Why will I be fighting when I don't even know why we're fighting? I said to myself, this is not my battle. I cannot be fighting what I know nothing about. Today, I want to talk to you about your own battle. How do you recognize your battle? And now you can fight it. I hope I'll be able to finish it, but you'll be able to fight. So again, in the topic we would be looking at is, it's your battle, it's not your power. David was a simple, handsome shepherd boy from the house of Jesse, the last of his 8 sons. He was one that was responsible for tendering the sheep. When his big brothers were at the war front, he was so good that he was left to take care of his father's sheep. You're going to ask yourself, can you really take care of your father's sheep when your father is not home? We know of so many children who have abandoned their father's sheep farm. Let me put it that way. You can translate it the way you want to, but the question is, can you keep your father's sheep when it's not there? There are so many companies that die with the owners because the children cannot keep the company. Such children cannot shepherd the sheep of the father. There are so many ministries that are made to die or wonder, wobble because the father is gone, and they have no direction because the children cannot shepherd the flock. David was able to shepherd the flock. Even in the lifetime of his father, he was doing it. But as children today, that even in the time of their father, they abandon the sheep of the father. They even destroy it. That's a story for another day, but David was shepherding his father's sheep. The scripture presents David to us as a shepherd, and he demonstrated that he was indeed a responsible shepherd. In the first book of Samuel, chapter 17, verse 20, when he was going to go out, what did he do? He left the sheep with a keeper. If somebody can get that, you can read it. He was going out early in the morning.
And David rose up early in the morning.
He rose up early in the morning.
And left the sheep with a keeper.
Okay.
And took...
Thank you. He left the sheep with a keeper. There are so many people that will abandon their sheep without leaving it to a keeper. I have seen it. I have seen pastors, because they have opportunity to travel outside their original place to another country, they forgot all about their sheep because they have no time. I have seen pastors that abandon their sheep because there is a juicy or a more juicier calling outside there. Maybe they want to get them some political appointment or whatever. But it does happen. And they won't. It's another thing to leave the sheep. It's another thing to leave the sheep with a keeper in your absence. But David did that. He was responsible. Mr. Shepherd, Mr. Pastor, Mr. General Overseer, ask yourself, did you ever leave your sheep with a keeper? Not only that, he mentioned an instance, not only that, he also mentioned an instance where he fought, or how he fought a lion and bear to defend the sheep. Let's look at 1 Samuel again, chapter 17, verse 34 to 36. Can somebody read that quickly?
And David said unto Saul,
yeah,
thy servant kept his father's sheep.
He's talking to himself now. I kept my father's sheep. That's David. Go ahead.
And there came a lion.
Lion.
And a bear.
Now, you have seen lion. I know those who have been to the zoo, they know what the lion looks like. So a lion eats other animal. And this lion had come, and he will eat man too, if man made himself available. But go ahead.
And took a lamb out of the flock.
Mm-hmm.
And when I went out after him and smote him.
There were so many of those lambs there, if only one that the lion took. So many of you, when the lion comes into the midst of your sheep, you just abandon that sheep. Yeah, I still have these ones. Remember the parable of 99 sheep and the 100 sheep and one that goes astray, like Jesus gave us. But that's David for you. Go ahead.
And delivered it out of his mouth.
He delivered the lion out of his mouth. You know what he did? What mean? He put his own life at stake. Because the lion can as well abandon the lamb and take over and take David instead. But he still went there. He did that. Go ahead.
And when he rose against me,
mm-hmm.
I caught him
yes.
by his beard.
Oh, yes.
And smote him and slew him.
Thank you so much, Mr. Pastor. Can you really fight to take your sheep out of the lion's mouth? Are you not even the lion yourself? You are the lion. Because you are killing them. You are putting burden on them. You are not the sheep keeper. You're not the shepherd. But that's David for you. When we get to where we're going today. Remember, we're talking about it's your battle, it's not your power. That was David's battle. To fight and save the sheep. It wasn't any other person's battle. It was David's battle. Shalom.
Shalom.
We'll get back to that story later. But what is important to know that David fought the battle and won the battle. So many people are too afraid to even fight the battle for their sheep. Even when the sheep are going astray. They were too timid to tell the sheep we are going into the mouth of the lion. Too many shepherds are afraid of saying the truth, so they're not fighting no battle. They don't ask themselves. They don't strengthen themselves with the song Kilomba Eleruko wi Eruko sinu ọkàn mi Torí Jehovah ń bẹ láàyè.
ẹ̀rù kò sínú ọkàn mi.
Now the same David was sent to go and meet his brothers at the war front. And it was a war that Saul had led the children of Israel. And at this war, the children of Israel were being threatened by one giant called the Goliath. Somebody say Goliath.
Goliath.
It was a giant. During this particular era, David's brothers were at war and they were at the battlefront. It was tough and deadly. And the proud Goliath, the Philistine of Gath, had challenged Israel again. Come over here. Let any one of you come out. See the proud man. Let any one of you come. If you can fight me and win, I will become your slave and the whole of Philistine. But if I win him, you, the whole of Israel, you become my slave. But nobody was bold enough, including the king, Saul. Nobody was bold to go. Well, Goliath was big. Ordinarily, that battle was not David's battle. David was supposed to go and give food to his brothers and give something to the wall, the commander there, and come back. But David was a patriot. How many battles have you run away from saying it doesn't concern me? Well, it's government that should do it. But in a battle to save the soul of a nation or a church or any community is a collective battle. If people begin to behave like David, so many countries of the world will have been saved. Including the king, nobody was ready to face Goliath. But David the patriot came, a ruddy man, was just about 17 plus. And all the adults, they couldn't fight it. And they're still talking about how far you have been in an organization. You've been in an organization, not talking about how far. Oh, why must this fellow be this? I have been there before him. Saul was there before David, wasn't he? His brothers were there before David. They were at the war front before David. Were they not? Yeah. But David the patriot and his family, his father, they were subjects of Saul. So, if they were subject of King Saul, the battle was not just of Saul's battle, it was their battle. Enito leru, lo leru. The battle to save the soul of an organization is not particularly a birthright battle. It's a battle for every individual that wants that society or organization to survive. David was one that stood out. Even his brother didn't want him. So what did David do? First thing, David asked questions. Many people today are fighting other people's battle because they never ask or probe the battle. They never ask themselves, is this my battle? They're just fighting it. I know if I'm fighting any battle, I know it's my battle because I will have asked myself, what makes me relevant to fight this battle? Will this battle benefit the largest number of people, or is it just about me? It wasn't just about David. The problem that people don't fight the right battle is because they are not fighting battle from their heart. They are never asking questions whether they really matter or whether the battle matters to them. They just want to fight. Some just don't want to fight. Some just want to fight. So, in 1 Samuel, the same 1 Samuel chapter 17, verse 26, David asked a question.
And David spake to the man, to the men that stood by him, saying, what shall be done to the man that killeth this Philistine, and taketh away the reproach from Israel?
I want you to underline that. Reproach from Israel. The inspiring situation for David was that reproach. He didn't want Israel to go through reproach. Are you allowing your organization, your church, your family, your nation to go through reproach? Every time that I travel to another country and I hold the American passport, I say in my heart, God bless America, because there's respect for you. Even when they hate you, they still know that their country says you can come in free. The passport of my place of birth, when I hold it, I know what I go through. Well, I don't even use it to travel, but when they see place of birth Lagos, they know that you are a naturalized person. Are you trying to save your country from reproach? The things you do in foreign countries. He didn't want that. Not before this uncircumcised Philistine will Israel be under reproach. So David asked question.
For who is this uncircumcised Philistine, that he should defy the armies of the living God?
You are jumping it. Don't worry, we'll get to that. Thank you. Now, the second thing David did was he identified a cause. When you fight a battle and your battle has no cause, you are just fighting for the sake of fighting. They must just know I'm there. I know people. I've been in committee of people where people just raise up their hand. Everybody is going the right way, just raise their hand, just to cause trouble. Such people have no cause. They have no reason to fight, and they're not fighting the right battle. They're just fighting. Must you fight for fighting's sake? But David asked for identification, to identify why do we have to fight this. So in verse 29.
And David said,
1 Samuel 17:29, yeah.
And David said, what have I now done? Is there not a cause?
His brother was telling him not to be part of this. But he's asking him, isn't there a reason for this? Of course, you all know there is a reason for it. Goliath wants to subject Israel to perpetual slavery. Your battle has no reason. You're just fighting. And that's why you'll be fighting other people's battle. Oh, they cannot do that to him. They are cheating him. They are victimizing. Who's victimizing you? Have you asked yourself? Are you fighting the right battle? Having established that it was his battle, David offered to fight. But not without further obstacle. Even when you have identified the battle as yours, even when you have asked questions, there are people who may still want you not to do that fight. King Saul believed David was too young to fight. But David proved he was adequately equipped to fight. Have you not been discouraged by people? No, we cannot do that. Hey, let's just leave things like that. If you have a fight that has a battle that has a real cause that you believe in, if you are able to identify that cause, if you have asked questions that you identify that this battle is yours, by all means, fight it if it's on the truth. We are a product as a church, Christ Alive International Church, we are a product of a struggle, a battle that was real, that had a reason. We are a product of a battle that was coming out of questions being asked. Somebody asked questions. Must we be doing things this way? No. Therefore, God says, move on. And that's why I tell people, when you celebrate a person like Primate James Oni, you must celebrate him with valor, as a man of valor, as a man of virtue, as a man that stood with truth, because he had a reason for the fight. So having established that, and then meeting the obstacle on the way, what David did was he fought, he added value to himself. Somebody wants to give you a job. You have identified that job, you deserve it, you want it. You have also asked questions about the job to know that it's something you can do. But then at the point of giving you the job, the man says, I don't think you can do this job. It's left for you to add value to yourself. It always happens. Last minute, some people ask you that. So David adds value to himself. So many people today cannot do things because they don't know that they have values at all. But David knew the value in him. He knew the power in him. So in 1 Samuel, the same 17, verse 32 to 36, he told the story of his life that will make King Saul know that he can fight this fight. Can we read that?
And David said to Saul,
yes,
let no man's heart fail because of him.
Mm-hmm.
Thy servant.
Look, that is a very reassuring way to start. It's like a job interview. Please, I want to assure you that I can do this job. Don't worry about me. I can do it. Go ahead.
Thy servant will go and fight with this Philistine.
The servant will go and fight. He didn't say, can I go and fight this man? He said, I will go and fight. That's affirmative. That is very assertive. That is definite. So many people cannot fight anything. They're always looking for somebody to clap behind them, even when they have a good fight. Somebody should clap. Go, go, go. Nobody was doing go, David, go, David. David was go. He said, your servant will go and fight this Philistine. Go ahead.
And Saul said to David, thou art not able to go against this Philistine to fight with him.
That is a king, really livered king.
For thou art but a youth, and he a man of war from his youth.
Yeah, he's a youth. But the man, David says, you will see go to him.
And David said unto Saul,
I know that in his heart. I remember this song. I know that in his heart, David was singing, I will go there. If he was a war leader or whatever from his youth, let me go. Go ahead.
And David said unto Saul, thy servant kept his father's sheep.
Now he's running out his resume, his CV. See, this is what I've done. If you say I cannot do this job, I can tell you what I've done. Okay?
And there came a lion and a bear and took a lamb out of the floor. And I went out after him and smote him and delivered it out of his mouth.
Oh, yes.
And when he arose against me,
yes,
I caught him by his beard, and smote him and slew him.
Can you imagine? Just imagine. What is your story? Your own story is the story of failure. What can you point out that makes you think you can do it? You can fight this war? David just mentioned it. A lion and a bear, not only one. If you have seen a bear dealing with people in this community, this environment we live in, it's fearful. A lion. The famed king of the forest of animals. But David fought that lion because he was that shepherd that wanted to protect his sheep. Go ahead.
Thy servant slew both the lion and the bear.
Good boy. Thank you. So David fought and won, but not by his power. He pulled the battle in God's territory. He did this even before he went to fight. Let's go continue where you were reading.
And this uncircumcised Philistine shall be as one of them.
Yes.
Seeing he had defied the armies of the living God.
That is where David put the battle in God's hand. And that's, we're talking about, it's your battle, it's not your power. The battle that you face today, if you believe that it is not within your power, just believe that you can fight it, but know that the power that will fight the battle for you is the power of God. Alágbára lọ́lọ́run mi, alágbára ni Jésù mi o, bó bá ti sọ̀rọ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ náà lórí o, alágbára. It is that Jesus that can fight your battle for you today, not man. The problem is that so many people cannot fight battles because they think they must possess the power to do so. You need the willpower. You need the agility to do so. David never could fight a Goliath because he was a young man, but he believed he could do it. You have to believe in yourself. There are 3 stages I've told you, but let's go on. And at the peak of the battle, in verse 45 of the same, David finally handed the battle over to God because it is not his power.
Then said David to the Philistine,
yes,
Thou comest to me with a sword and with a spear and with a shield. But I come to thee in the name of the Lord of hosts.
Yes.
The God of the armies of Israel.
Now today I come against your enemies as you listen to this with the name of God. With the host, the Lord God of hosts. The God of the army of Israel. That the battle before you will be finished and quashed in Jesus' name.
Amen.
And I pray for the word. I pray, not me, but through the power of our Lord Jesus Christ, that the battle that is troubling the world today in the name of the disease of coronavirus, God in his own power will quash it.
Amen.
Will finish it.
Amen.
Because it is our battle, but it is his power. We're talking about it's your battle, not your power. Man by his nature cannot win any battle. The moment you think you can win a battle by yourself, you are done. Because who can be a better warrior than David that killed in thousands? Only him. Don't you know that God was the one that was killing for him? From that conquest, the conquest of Goliath, David stood on his head with the stone. The cheek of it, just a stone from his flank, pim, killed the man. When Saul put all the armor on David, David said, this is too heavy. Please remove it. Let me go. And he picked 5 pieces of stone, rocks, and he killed it. And he killed Goliath. All those armor that you are carrying all over the armor from Babalawo and the Olorisha, the Woli, Onisheke that is deceiving you, cannot save you, but there is one power that can save you. The power of God. From the moment that David won that war by killing Goliath, he became the good shepherd of Israel. Even before he became king. Remember, before that, he has been anointed anyway. Are you? And he set the tone. David set the tone for the recommendation of Christ for who should be a shepherd in the book of John, chapter 10, verse 1 down to 15. When you read verse 11, John 11, you see.
I am the good shepherd.
Yes.
The good shepherd giveth his life for the sheep.
Thank you. What did David do? He gave his life for the sheep, for the lamb. That is what the good shepherd is. And he was able to do that because he realized that it wasn't his battle, it was his battle, but not his power. And that is why Christ instructed Peter in the book of John, the same book of John, chapter 21, verse 15 to 17. After asking him whether he loved him or not, he says, feed my lamb. The good shepherd feeds the lamb.
Peter seeing him, verse 15.
Yeah, 15 to 17 if you want to read it.
So when they had dined, Jesus said to Simon Peter, Simon, son of Jonah, lovest thou me more than this? He said unto him, Yea, Lord, thou knowest that I love thee. He said unto him, feed my lamb. He said to him again the second time, Simon, son of Jonah, lovest thou me? He said unto him, Yea, Lord, thou knowest that I love you.
And you know that I love you. I mean, I've always been there. What do you mean, do I love you? Now, go to the end of the last verse.
He said unto him the third time, Simon, son of Jonah, lovest thou me? Peter was grieved because he said unto him the third time,
are you still asking me, Lord, you know that I love you?
And he said unto him, Lord, thou knowest all things. Thou knowest that I love thee. Jesus said unto him, feed my
sheep. I'm asking you today, Mr. Pastor, the big pastor, the general overseer, the assistant general overseers, the deputy general overseers, the overseers, what are the remaining titles? Bishop, archbishop, archdeacon, whatever. I'm asking you, are you feeding the lamb? Are you feeding the sheep? Can you be that David? Can you fit into John 11, John 10 verse 11 that Christ recommended for us. Are you therefore afraid that the shepherd, that being a good shepherd is a battle, that you cannot handle it? Are you afraid? Remember, David, it was his battle, but it was not his power. This battle is yours, but it's not your power. But you must first of all be able to do what David did. David took ownership of the battle first. Have you taken ownership of a battle? Or are you still deceiving yourself when I'm ready? There are too many people today that God will have called on them, or God called on them and they, okay, it's okay. When I retire, I'll be able to do the work of God very well. Have you ever bothered to ask if Christ comes before your retirement? Oh yes, when I take care of my wife, when I finish. So because right now my children are young. They are very young. I will not be able to do the work of God. What are you waiting for? Those children will have to stand before the judgment seat on their own, not you. And they will finish you. They will tell you, well, we didn't tell him not to go and do your work. If there was a way to say, it's not our fault because we are young. If we are young, remember there are children whose parents died when they were just 1 year old. They survived, didn't they? So why will you say that's why you cannot? And you remember it says in Matthew that those who love their children, wife, feel, father, more than me, they're not fit to be in my kingdom. You get that in Matthew 10:32 down there. Are you still afraid? Have you asked yourself that you cannot be a good shepherd because you are not willing to give your life for your sheep? But David did. Remember what he did to become one. David asked questions. The second thing, he identified a reason. He added value to himself. And finally, he put that battle in God's hand because David realized that it is a battle for him, but it is not his power that will finish the battle. Today, I put you in that mode. Look at your battle. The battle that you're facing in your family, in your marital life, as a father between you and your children, or as a mother between you and your children, as children between you, children and your parents, as the leader and the people that follow you, as a shepherd, or somebody that wants to take ownership of being a shepherd, as a general overseer, bishop, pastor, AGO, DGDO, everything. Have you asked yourself questions? Have you really looked at the reason why you should be fighting the battle? Have you also added value to your person? What have you got to offer? Like David. Can you make reference to it that your father put something in charge and you took care of it? Son of Panda, who wants to take over his father's property. Have you tried to hand over the battle to God? Not his power, but not your power, but his own power. I put you in this as you step into a new week to know that every battle that you face this week, put the battle in the hand of God. Because it's your battle, it is not your power. Shalom.
Shalom.